We've been working over here and we're not quite done yet. Here comes Don, the rock guy, and Don has backed himself into a predicament. Hey folks, this is Josh, Stoney Ridge Farmer. Welcome back to the farm. I have an awesome special treat for you today and an awesome special treat for me today. So I've had an excavator and a loader down here working on the farm for probably 5 days now, and guess what? He tossed me the keys to this for the day. So I've got this excavator and I have this huge mess. This is a hedgerow right here. We call it a hedgerow. It's just a row of trees and rocks, gigantic rocks. I've already been in here working a little bit. I didn't want to embarrass myself too much, but come along today as I work on the learning curve of trying to operate this gigantic machine. It's going to be fun. It's going to be awesome. And we're going to turn this area of scrubby old mess into something pretty. All right? Stoney Ridge, farm, Stoney Ridge, Stoney Ridge farm. Woo! All right. So before we get talking about the equipment, because we're going to get in there, we're going to have some fun. I got a GoPro. We're going to talk through all that stuff. These are what we're pulling out. So rocks this size, which is about 10 times as big as my head, to rocks this size. It's the Stoney Ridge farm because there are rocks as big as cars in here, man. There are huge, huge, huge rocks. And this is what I've done so far. And this is probably 3 hours worth of work. We plucked all this out. I'll show you the other side of that big oak tree right there. That's the finished product. So here's what before looks like, and we'll throw the drone up too, but here's what before looks like, all this mess. This is what it looks like after. It looks very, very nice. Now it's not totally finished. Still got to get in here with the loader a little bit, straighten out this mess, but he's already back drugged this. This may be the permanent spot where we put our home. That's one of 2 places on the farm that we're considering putting our home. Very, very pretty, and the view is awesome. So we have a mountain view. There's some mountains right back there. That's Bull Mountain that you can barely see way off in the distance, but off camera you can really see it, and the sunset's right over there. Beautiful. Our tobacco barn's right down here, and our tractor shed's right here. My wife is a little bit reluctant to build here because it's pretty much the only place on the farm where we could see more houses. So I don't know, you guys tell me. We've got 200 acres ish, and there are probably 2 good building sites. One is going to require more infrastructure. In other words, we're going to have to drill another well and put in another septic. If we build here, it's going to save us that $10,000 of drilling another well. And my thought process is here, if we have kids, what a fun lawn, what a beautiful lawn, a great garden spot down here. The corn garden is down here, and what a beautiful front lawn this would make. Can you imagine when I'm 80 years old having a row of oak trees and a driveway right down the middle through there? How beautiful would that be? Let's go check out the equipment. That's the fun part. I don't know the horsepower, but it's an SK210. It is a Kobelco brand machine. It's nice. It's a nice, pretty insulated cab with air conditioner and a radio. I like to kind of hear what I'm doing, but I'm going to wear my headphones right here so I can take phone calls if I need to while I'm working. It has, I believe, a 4 or 5 foot bucket. That's a huge bucket. This is a monster of a machine. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to take out some of these trees that are just like bleh, like that, and try and leave some of the pretty tall straight ones. So without further ado, guys, I've only had about 3 hours on this machine, so it's about like handing a fine tip pen to a kid that's only had a crayon. In other words, it's a huge difference in running that John Deere tractor to running this. But I'm sure we can pick it up. By the time we get done, we might be moderately proficient enough to keep up with the 953, and I can pull stumps and he can push them in a pile. Awesome. Let's get busy. Woo! So the most appropriate thing for me to do is show you how all the controls work in this machine. You got to step right here, step here, and then step up in the cab. And I've got the cab open, so we'll grab this handle right here and we'll step up into the cab. All right, you have a seat here with armrest. The armrest fold down. Underneath there is the radio. So we fold our armrest down, and there's an armrest over here on the other side. Now, if I can find it. Where'd you go, bud? There it is. It flipped backwards. What we've got going here is a start switch. So we'll turn the key on which initiates the computer right here. Right there's the computer. You can see it lights up. It has a backup camera system in there. Then we'll turn the key on. Listen to how quiet this thing is. The air conditioning's on right now, which we really don't need. So we're gonna turn it off, okay? Crank it up, listen how quiet. Just purr. Isn't that quiet? That's really cool. So we'll let it warm up to good operating temperature. But while it's warming up, we'll talk about all the controls and how all the controls work. And then we'll get you a demonstration outside too. So I'm gonna take this camera out there and we're gonna go on GoPro. Okay, so we're gonna get the full-on crash course here. The machine has started. We have a red handled lever here. We're gonna push this red handled lever down. That says beep, beep, we're good to go. We buckle our seatbelt up. There is a knob over here I turn to turn it on high. The RPMs increase. Now we have 2 joysticks in the operator station here, and these 2 joysticks are what moves it forward and backwards. As soon as you pull this, it starts beeping. You'll hear it beep. Okay, so we'll pull this one up, and that lifts the arm up off the ground. Okay, now we can go left, right, up and down. So up and down, very cool. Left and right. Very big swings on this thing. Very, very sensitive. Now we have bucket control. So the scooper on the bucket. If I move it to the left, let's bring it up a little bit. If I move to the right, it pulls the bucket down, and if I move it if I move to the left, it scoops the bucket up. Also, if I pull to me, it brings the elbow in, and if I push away, it brings the elbow out. So you have to find that fine little spot that makes it sweet so that you can dig a straight and even hole. That's what the whole goal is to find the sweet spot. And that's what the learning curve is here. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna swing around here and we're gonna get busy. We're probably gonna knock some trees down here in just a few minutes. First thing we're gonna try and do is get our first stump out of the day. Now again, I only have about 3 hours on this machine. I am totally learning, totally a newbie. Hopefully by the end of the day, I won't be a total newbie and I'll know a little bit about what I'm doing. What you're seeing here is the delicate balance that I have to find here, because I want to keep this tree. This is a hickory tree and it's going to make a beautiful, beautiful tree. So I have to barely stick the forks or the tines in the ground here on the bucket and just skim this area, taking out all the rocks that are in the area, and then we'll come back in and dress it up with the loader. So that's what's going on here. You see how many rocks? This is why we call it the Stoney Ridge Farm. So we're going to keep this tree here. See, that is a hickory tree, and there's also a red oak back in here that we may be able to keep. We've got to bring the ground level here down just a little bit to make it even with the pasture. Now there's a hump, and this is where people have piled rocks on this farm for hundreds of years, evidently pretty much since the settlers' days, and this is an old tobacco farm, so that's what's going on. This may give you a little better perspective of the hump that we're working with here. So there's a big pretty rolling field here, which used to be a nasty mess, and we cleaned it up. There's a big pretty hump right here, and then there's a big beautiful field right here that used to be a nasty mess when we first bought this farm, and we cleaned it up. So this is just part of it. If we can build our home here, we'll have a beautiful, beautiful view. So that's what's going on when I'm digging and I'm barely skimming the ground. You'll get some various camera angles while we're working here, but you can see we've got a hole right here that needs to be filled in. We've got dirt here, but not a lot of dirt. So we've got to roll this stuff around, stir it around, get the rocks out, let the dirt settle, and then come back, dress up and fill in all these holes. It is a fine art. So I'll work myself all the way around this side, and then I'll come back and work my way all the way around this side. Fun stuff. Guys, I want to give you some words of encouragement. If your kids are video game kids and you think they're not going to amount to nothing because you keep playing those games, that thing is like playing a video game. It's a lot more dangerous than a video game, but it sure is fun, and all you're doing is moving joysticks and hitting buttons. It's just like a video game. So there's some words of encouragement. You could have a future heavy equipment operator. It's very, very similar to flying the flight simulator for the F-16. I got a chance to fly that when I was in the Air Force. So similar. Very, very minute changes with the joystick. Awesome. Alright guys, so we've been working over here and we're not quite done yet. Here comes Don, the rock guy, and Don has backed himself into a predicament. So what happened, Don thought he was on this side of the tree. He's mad at me now. He thought he was on this side of the tree, but he needed to be over like 2 feet. So we're gonna have to push the trailer because he's on clover. All this whole field is clover for the honeybees. So he's on clover and it's just slick as snot, and it's a 2-wheel drive truck, so it's going just spinning. And this trailer is loaded down with rocks, so it's got a heavy, heavy load on it. So he's lining up, and you want me to drive? I'll drive it. So I'm gonna drive. We're gonna push this thing out here. Hang on guys, we'll get you a shot. Get you the show. Woo!
Folks, 2-wheel drives and clover just don't mix. It gets really, really slick. Woo!
It's still stuck. You're gonna have to push me out the field.
All right, coming.
Make it out of the field. Don's truck got stuck right there. He wants to listen. He shut it down. His truck got stuck right there. So I backed back up and hit it again. Took one more run at it. It got stuck again. This clover gets slick as snot. The dew has settled, and we had to push Don out twice. So it's a little rough on my grass here. It's a little rough on hauling all that weight in and out of here. It's a little hard on my grass. I'm a little concerned about that, but I guess it'll come back. We got to get busy. We got just a few more, maybe 1.5 hour left of daylight, a couple more trees to take down, and we'll be done for today. We'll show you the results.
Come on down to the Stoney Ridge, bring your wife and bring your kids. We're living life pure and sweet. That's the way it's supposed to be, Stoney Ridge.
Your Army Reserve right there, guys. Bobcat 773 with the Army Reserve guy in there.